Okay, let's have a look into the body and his rhetorical skills of Jordan Peterson, as well as his ideas. Okay, he's very popular for God knows why, and yeah, it's just sad. Okay, let's say this. So let's have a look now.
There's a big problem here. The problem is, it's true. You're oppressed, you're oppressed, you're oppressed, you're oppressed. God only knows why. Maybe you're too short, or you're not as beautiful as you could be, or you know, your grandparent was a serf, likely, because almost everybody's great-grandparent was. It's like, you know, and you're not as smart as you could be, and you have a sick relative, and you have your own physical problems, and it's like, frankly, you're a mess. And you're oppressed in every possible way, including your ancestry and your biology, and the entire sum of human history has conspired to produce victimized you with all your individual pathological problems. It's like, yes, true. Okay, but the problem is that it is true. And so if you take the...
See, at least he talks normal here, not like in some of his speeches he talks it's just super difficult to understand him. Because he can't express himself simple and clearly.
To fractionate them and fractionate them.
But he has difficulty to come to the point, to get to the point.
It's like, you're a woman. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm a black woman. Well, I'm a black...
It's the first time I'm listening to this speech, by the way. So I can have true feelings.
Black woman who has 2 children. Well, I'm a black woman who has 2 children, and one of them isn't very healthy. And then, well, I'm a Hispanic woman, and I have a genius son who doesn't have any money, so that he can't go to university. And, you know, I had a hell of a time getting across the border. It was really hard on me to get my citizenship. My husband is an alcoholic brute. It's like, well, yeah.
Whoa, what am I listening to? His finest moments. I don't see anything coming.
Sucks too. And so, well, so let's fix all your...
I have difficulty listening to him. This is because he doesn't mesmerize me.
Oppression.
The way he talks, it has no skills, no rhetorical skills.
And we'll take every single thing into account, and then we'll fix yours too. We'll take every single thing into account. It's like, no, you won't, because you can't. You can't. It is technically impossible. First of all, you can't even list all the ways that you're oppressed. Second, how are you going to wait?
This is too bad, this one. Let's find another speech. Let's take this one.
And you know, people are very, 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 very tough. And it turns...
Too many times the word very.
Turns out that if you face...
Doesn't make... This is a rhetorical mistake. It doesn't make the word, the meaning of the word stronger.
Things.
What is it? It does the opposite. It makes it weaker. The more you say very, 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 the weaker the meaning becomes. The best thing is to not say very. You say, I give you an example. If I say you're strong, okay, that's it. That's the best you can say. If you say you're very strong, it doesn't make it. Let me find another example. Yeah, this is a perfect example. For example, if he says, this is very true, okay, this is very true, it's weaker than if you would say, this is true. Because if you say, this is true, yeah, it's just true. Right? There are no levels. It's just true. It's the absolute. It is true. But if you says it's very true, and maybe it's not perfectly true. But it's already very true. You see, it makes the meaning of the word weaker. And if he repeats it so many times, it just loses. First of all, the audience, the listener, loses interest, and second, the meaning of the word becomes weaker. So this is a mistake.
It turns out that if you face things that you can put up with a lot more than you think you can put up with, and you can do it without becoming things that you things.
Why does he make it so complicated?
It turns out that if you face things, that you can put up with a lot more than you think you can put up with, and you can do it without becoming corrupted. And she did recover quite
I
fully.
still didn't get it.
If you face things, it turns out that if you face things, that you can put up with a lot more than you think you can put up with, and you can do it without becoming corrupted. And
I can't follow him.
she did recover quite fully, and much as a consequence of her own machinations, because she figured out what was wrong with her and then
He talks way too abstract.
took the necessary
Another mistake, common mistake
steps to
of a bad speaker.
fix it, which is nothing short of a bloody miracle as far as I'm
Too many words,
concerned.
while you can express it in a simple way.
And anyways, part of the cat bit is I actually start by talking about our dog, who actually died about a year ago, but he's still alive in the book. I let people know, because dog lovers love dogs, and if you love cats, then they think you don't like dogs, and then they don't like you. So I also point out at the beginning of the chapter that, if you want to pet a dog on the street, that's okay too, so you don't have to get up in arms about it. But the idea is that, you have to be alert when you're suffering. You have to be alert to the beauty in life, the unexpected beauty in life. And that's kind of
What beauty.
what I was trying to get across with the idea of the cat. There's this cat that lives across the street from us called Ginger, and Ginger's a Siamese cat. And cats really aren't domesticated, technically speaking. They're still wild animals, but they kind of like people. God only knows why, but they do, And
How do you know they like people? I don't know. Because you give them food, that's why. So there's a clear answer. It's not a miracle that cats approach people.
so Ginger will come wandering over, and our dog looks at her, but they're friends, and she rolls over on his back, and Seiko used to, nose her a bit, and
Just irrelevant stuff he's talking about.
And then she'd kind of mosey over and let you pet her if she was feeling like it that day. And, you have to look for that little bit of sparkling crystal in the darkness when things are bad. You have to look and see where things are still beautiful and where there's still something that's sustaining. And, you narrow
I don't do that.
your time frame, and you be grateful for what you have, and
No,
that can get you through.
that's difficult. Yeah, his way of thinking is not feasible. I got what he's saying. He says that even in the dark, you can still find some light. You can, if like, for example, you don't have the best life, right? Maybe you don't have a partner, and you just lost your job, or you have a job you're not happy with, and you still can try to see it on the bright side. You can pay attention to some little things that make you happy. When you go out, you see a dog walking, and you try to see the good things. But this is bullshit. This is just bullshit. That's not how you feel happy, and it doesn't last. You can't constantly tell yourself to be grateful and always try to see the good things in everything. Like when you're outside, let's say you had a very bad day, but oh, look, the sky, the sun is shining, it's blue, look how beautiful. This doesn't work. It's nonsense. The thing what he should say is to follow your passion, to find something that fulfills you, not to waste your time with trying hard to see the bright, to think positively. This is nonsense. You automatically think positive if you focus on something that gives you joy. If you have found something, he talks nonsense.
Some very dark times, and maybe even successfully if you're lucky, but even if unsuccessfully, then maybe it's only tragic and not absolute hell. And you can do that, in the worst situation. You can make it only tragic and not hell. And there's a big gap between tragedy and hell,
Yes, I can, maybe if my life is hell, you can make it tragic. It's still tragic, but it's not hell. So therefore it's I mean it's okay. That's never how you should think. You want an amazing life. Try to something that makes you extremely happy. He just proves that he doesn't have the answers. His speech, he's trying to make your life just a little bit better, just a little bit. I said that's already enough. But we don't need to listen to a 1 hour speech for that. We already know that.
There's nothing worse at a deathbed than to see the people there fighting. The death is bad enough, but you can take that, as terrible as it is, and make it into something that's absolutely unbearable. And maybe I think, and this is sort of what I closed the book with, is this idea is that if we didn't all attempt to make terrible things even worse than they are, then maybe we could tolerate the terrible things that we have to put up.
What I like though, is he's not, he didn't try to learn gestures, and this is good because then you speak more natural. He has his own gestures. I don't like speakers that have trained, memorized patterns of gestures. This is very bad because then you're not yourself anymore. That's why I would never learn gestures. It's totally wrong. Gestures come naturally.
In order to,
if you try to learn gestures and you're doing it, you're doing something wrong.
Exist, and maybe we could make the world into a better place, you know, and it's what we should be doing and what we could be doing because we don't have anything better to do, and that's what the book is about, and that's the end of 12 rules for life.
Every time you learn something, you learn because something you did didn't work, and that exposes you to the part of the world that you don't understand. Every time you're exposed to a part of the world that you don't understand,
he talks too much. I can't follow him. If for 1 second I just don't pay attention, I'm already out.
Something. You learn
12 rules. That's what the book is about, and that's the end of 12 rules for life.
Every time you learn something, you learn because something you did didn't work. And
a weird way. I don't know if I can agree with that. Yes, I have tried certain things that didn't work and eventually have to find something else. But I don't learn because something else. It's just this to me is I've learned something because I want to learn it, not because something else necessarily failed. It's wrong.
And that exposes you to the part of the world that you don't understand. Every time you're exposed to a part of the world that you don't understand,
that's what I say. He talks too abstract. You're exposed to a part of a word that you don't understand. It's just too abstract.
You have the possibility of rebuilding the structures that you use to interpret the world.
See this?
You have the possibility.
You have the possibility
of rebuilding the structures
that
you use to interpret the world.
I can't follow him. I cannot follow him. It's all just too abstract.
You have the possibility of rebuilding the structures that you use to interpret the world.
I have no idea what he means.
You have the possibility of rebuilding the structures that you use to interpret the world. You have the possibility.
It's because he can't express himself clearly. Nobody has an idea what he means.
Of rebuilding the structures that you use in the world that you don't understand. The part of the world that you don't understand. Every time you're exposed to a part of the world that you don't understand, you have the possibility of rebuilding the structures that you use to interpret the world.
No idea.
That's often why it's more important to notice that you're wrong than it is to prove that you're right. One of the things that you're...
I can't see the connections because I don't even understand. Rebuilding the structures of you used to interpret. I can't follow him.
Often why it's more important to notice that you're wrong than
And that's why it's more important to notice than you're wrong
it is to prove that you're right. One of the things that you're supposed to learn in university is precisely that. It might be useful to listen to people that annoy you on the off chance that they know something that, if they tell you, you can use instead of dying.
You waste your time if you do that. You should not listen to people that annoy you.
Talking to people who agree with what you say is like walking around in a desert. You already know everything that they say. The reason you're associating with them in that situation is so that they never say anything that challenges you, because you're afraid that if you go outside of what you understand, that you won't be able to tolerate the chaos.
Nonsense, complete nonsense. Why would I waste my time with people that are on the wrong track? It's like, do I need, let's say I'm right wing, okay? I like nationalism, national socialism. Do I need to associate myself with losers that are brainwashed, that are leftist liberals, communists, just to expand my horizon when I already know that they are wrong? It doesn't make any sense. You have to associate yourself, you have to surround yourself with people that are like-minded. And in your realm, you grow. It doesn't mean that you don't learn anything new. This is nonsense. But you have to learn the right thing and not from the wrong sides. You should not listening to your enemies. You should listen to people that think like you, because they are on the right track. If you are doing it right, you're on the right track. You associate yourself with people that are following the same way, and together you will grow. That's what Hitler did.
But it isn't the case. People have an unbelievable capacity to face and overcome things they don't understand.
It's just this guy is full of shit. Talking nonsense. He's basically saying we should waste our time with idiots just to learn something new. We can't learn from idiots. Because idiots absorb idiotic informations. They have no good what is it called? Touch. No sense of judging. They can't interpret the things the right way. God is.
And
you find another.
Like things to go as well for them as possible. What would their life have to be like in order for that to be the case? Well, people don't do that. They don't sit down and think, all right, let's figure it out. You've got a life.
He doesn't have any rhetorical skills. Yes, he can speak in front of people. But that doesn't make him a great speaker. I didn't see anything. His ideas, I didn't think, and nothing impresses me. His ideas are garbage. He has difficulty expressing himself, can't make clear, short sentences. He talks way too abstract. Nobody understands him. And yeah, I didn't see the body language. I didn't see anything great.
It's hard, obviously. It's like
nothing impressive.
3 years from now, you can have what you need. You got to be careful about it. You can't have everything. You can have
it's
would be
focus
good for
on
them,
his
and then they aim at
body
it.
language.
Then they get it, and it's strange because they don't. It's a strange thing. It's not quite that simple because, you may formulate an idea about what would be good for you, and then you take 10 steps towards that, and you find out that your formulation was a bit off, and so you have to reformulate your goal.
It's okay. I don't know.
Like
nothing impressive.
as you move towards the goal. This is a very narrow
Not a
line and very
particular
unlikely.
good body language. I didn't like it. And his voice is very bad. I don't know. I don't mean his voice. I don't mean the voice itself, but the intonation.
The probability that you're going to stumble
It's
on it
boring.
randomly is 0. And so there's a
No
proposition here, and the
speaking
proposition is,
skills.
if you actually want something, you can have it.
From his voice. From his voice. It's nothing coming. So yeah, this is... Jordan Peterson is pretty bad. I've watched a couple speeches of him and they're all trash. All trash, his ideas. I never paid attention to his speaking skills because they were never great. But yeah, it's always like paid attention to his... What's it called? What he says, and it's just so wrong and so overly abstract. It's just garbage. It's really sad for the people that think he's great. It's just losers that like him, losers. So yeah, that's my take on Jordan Peterson. I don't want to waste my time anymore on this fool.